It's time for the main event. It's the Shoe Shine.
No, they want to see me doing bad, but I'm good.
¿Qué onda, vatos locos? Damas y caballeros, it's your boy Dave in the 702 coming back at you for that only boxing podcast on YouTube you need to listen to, The Shoe Shine. Joining me all the way from the city of brotherly love, Philly Irish, Drew Evo. ¿Qué pasa, homie?
Got a classic gem here, Dave.
Yeah.
Those are what we talk about.
Oh, snap. Drew Evo with the classic video games. Oh, went out of Fox. There we go. Knockout King. Shout out to Oscar De La Hoya. Shout out to everybody joining us. I see you. Jimenez Video Productions. He says, Orale. Hey, Drew, we didn't do our show on Monday. I just want to let everybody know that you guys had some very serious storms out on the East Coast. Of course, a lot of you East Coast supporters of the Shoe Shine, I know you guys had to deal with snow. But, hey, I just want to give my thoughts, prayers, and condolences to everybody that are being affected in Southern California by those horrific wildfires, Drew. I'm just hearing from people that now Hollywood Hills is on fire. It's just absolute tragic. And something that, as a someone who grew up in Northern California, Drew, I remember one of my best friends, we was in high school, and he lived in the Oakland Hills. Some of you guys that might be old enough to remember, but the Oakland Hills, Berkeley Hills, completely was decimated in the 90s by a wildfire up in the hills, just like the Hollywood Hills. And my friend was homeless for a minute. And even though it costs money to live in the hills. Everybody knows when you live in certain parts of the hills in California, it means you got money. It don't matter, man. You're still being affected. You lose animals. You lose all your personal belongings. You lose this, that. You lose your home, your sense of home. So I'm sending my thoughts and prayers from the Shoe Shine out there to everybody being affected in California. Is devastating. So appreciate everybody out there, man. Yeah, I heard about that. Drew stepped away for a quick second. Antonio Pierce was seen in a lowrider Impala driving away from the Raiders Stadium out there in Allegiant Stadium. We're going to be doing a lot more of that coverage tomorrow on Tailgate Talk. Drew and I are very excited about the playoffs. Obviously, a lot of people's teams did not make it. Shout out to the Niner gang. Shout out to the Bird gang in Arizona that beat the 49ers not once but twice this season. Damn. A very, very bad year for the 49ers. Time to rebuild. We're going to get right into this boxing talk because I woke up at 4 a.m. As soon as Drew comes back, we're going to talk about Jai Opetaia versus David Nika in the land down under. The cruiserweight unified champion of the world defending his title on a Wednesday morning. I was up at 4 a.m. to watch that shit, and then I had horrible sleep afterwards. But, tomorrow we will be returning to our normal schedule, Tailgate Talk on Thursday, playoff edition. I'm going to be opening that up, I think, as an open panel. So if you're watching this show today, right now, live or on replay, and you are interested, you can hit me up on my Instagram to be a football co-host tomorrow. I'll probably be opening up that with the link so you can chime in. Let me know what are some of your playoff predictions. We'll be doing that tomorrow. It's been a slow start to boxing for 2025, but it was just kind of odd for us, here in the U.S. States that we were having a championship level fight being put on a Wednesday. Shout out Big Spooky. Appreciate you in the chat, homie. For a Wednesday, we had a championship level fight. Jai Opetaia, the cruiserweight champion of the world. He has 2 titles. He takes on a last-minute replacement, David Nika, cruiserweight that he's sparred with. Former sparring partners. That doesn't mean they're friends. Actually, a lot of bad blood between these two guys leading up. His opponent, David Nika, had 3 weeks to prepare to fight the Samoan Australian cruiserweight champion of the world. Why am I obsessed with Jai? Why should you care about Jai Opetaia? Well, you should care because he is calling out Zurdo Ramirez, who he has a gym in Hollywood, I believe, man. But Zurdo Ramirez, the Mexican cruiserweight unified champion of the world, these 2 guys are going to fight this year. It is going to happen. Zurdo Ramirez just had an incredible performance in Saudi Arabia. In Saudi Arabia, he had an incredible performance. Shout out to SB. I appreciate you. By the way, for those of you that are joining me, I had been doing a lot of thinking, and I'm like, we don't get a lot of trolls in here, but I want to start giving out wrenches to everybody that's been a great supporter of the channel. Whether you're here every week or not, I will be assigning wrenches, so look out, man, because you might just get one next week. And it's about time I pay back to everyone in this community that I've been trying to grow. Now, I just mentioned, why should you care about Jai Opetaia, the cruiserweight champion of the world? Well, because he's going to be most likely taking on Zurdo Ramirez, the Mexican Cruiser Unified Champion. Here he is on the left, and here he is on the right-hand side, a former Cuban contender. I believe his name is Ortico. This looks to be his opponent in the spring. He's keeping fresh. Jai Opetaia, if you guys didn't hear, Jai won today by spectacular knockout in the thumbnail. An incredible knockdown. Already going to be, obviously, in January, the leading contender for knockout of the year. This is the first knockdown. This ain't the second one, because the second knockdown, his opponent, David Nika, was pretty much unconscious, laid out, and put to sleep. So a very scary thing. But again, great competitors and great sportsmanship afterwards. David Nika was okay. So Jai Opetaia, Samoan Australian. We haven't had great Samoan champions since David Tua, who was never a heavyweight champion, but David Tua, a legendary 90s heavyweight boxer who, certainly was probably the most prominent Samoan fighter back in the day. Now we have Jai Opetaia, a unified cruiserweight champion, who's eyeing big things, guys. If he can beat Zurdo Ramirez, who I just put up here. Zurdo Ramirez, very good friends with Turki Alalshikh, who's putting on Riyadh season, obviously. They're going to make this fight happen. This fight is absolutely going to happen in 2025 as soon as they can unify these two matches, because heavyweight undisputed champion, former undisputed champion, one of the belts was given away, guys, to Daniel Dubois, who earned it when the IBF stripped Usyk. But Alexander Usyk, who just beat Tyson Fury for the second time and is approaching his late 30s, possibly 40s, is running out of interesting heavyweights to fight. Naturally, because Usyk is the only person who's ever been in the four division era of titles to hold undisputed crown at cruiserweight. Man, if Jai Opetaia can beat Zurdo Ramirez, the great Mexican cruiserweight, former 168-pound champion, if he can beat him, Drew, he's going to snatch up and be the second undisputed cruiserweight champion of the world, and he is knocking on the door of an opportunity to fight the great Alexander Usyk. Drew?
Can you hear me?
I hear you great, man. Jai Opetaia knocks out the shit out of his former sparring partner, who only had 3 weeks to prepare, and David Nika. Obviously, it's the big first major fight of 2025. It ends in 4 rounds. The 4 rounds were great. Rounds 2 and 3. You and I were just talking about how competitive rounds 2 and 3 were. He caught Jai Opetaia with some great shots, ending round 2 and 3, even kind of hurting him, but looking like, okay. But listen, man, after that, Jai Opetaia took off the cruise control and put the hurt on homeboy, and he got him out of there in 4 rounds, Drew. I'm telling everybody, because Zurdo Ramirez fought on Riyadh season for Latino Night, Golden Boys relationship, this cruiserweight unification for Undisputed is going to happen sooner than later. First of all, what are your thoughts on Jai Opetaia this year? Last year, fighting more than most champions. It's crazy. Fighting more. I mean, he's fought more than Teofimo Lopez in 2 years combined.
If we look at it, he was stripped of his belt because I guess he wouldn't defend it against somebody, and I guess Brady's let him wait on it, and then after that, they wound up fighting for the vacated belt. He beats Brady's. He got the win and got his belt back, became Little champion, and then he started fighting he fought 4 times last year.
Yeah, crazy. And he fought today on Wednesday to open up 2025 in spectacular fashion, Drew. Yeah, that's a big problem that I want to talk about after this segment, because there's a lot of champions that are fighting once or twice a year.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, it's crazy, but I don't like I don't really know when you like Opetaia, is he ready for heavyweight yet? No, I think he should just unify and everything. And I'm just like, it's unification from here. If we look at it.
Yeah, and I just posted up, it looks like Zurdo Ramirez is absolutely going to be open to it because Zurdo's going to do whatever Turki Alalshikh and Oscar ask of him. He's a great champion. Zurdo's been mentioning fighting the likes of, obviously he would like to try to unify and become undisputed as well. But he's even dropped the hints that he would fight for the right amount of money, that he would fight Jake Paul. And I think, hey, if he loses ultimately to Jai Opetai, why not? Why not? Why not make the easy money? Let me check really quickly what's going on here. Drew had to step away for just a quick moment. All right, Drew says that he's having some intermittent issues with the Skype. He's going to reboot, and hopefully he'll come right back on. But shout out to Wicked Loco, Wiley Coyote, salute. I appreciate you guys all up in here. Today at 4 a.m. on the West Coast for me, 7 a.m., Jai Opetai, the unified cruiserweight champion of the world, knocked out David Nika, a last-minute 3-week replacement, a fighter that he's well accustomed to. He had been a sparring partner. He actually had David Nika, a little bit taller than Jai Opetaia, the Samoan Australian. And, it's a big deal because these guys, Jai Opetaia is just one fight away from fighting Zurdo Ramirez, the other unified cruiserweight champion. Nowadays, guys, remember, there's 4 different sanctioning bodies in boxing, which means that in every weight division, you could have 4 champions, or you could have a champion that is so spectacular like Canelo Alvarez, who's done things like unify all 4 titles and hold all 4 titles, being crowned undisputed. Very few people are on that list, including people like Canelo Alvarez. Terrence Crawford has done it twice, 2 different divisions. Obviously, Alexander Usyk has been crowned undisputed cruiserweight and heavyweight champion. That's why this guy, Jai Opetaia, is so important for us to keep our eye on, because he could conceivably be the next undisputed cruiserweight champion of the world and move up to heavyweight and automatically get an opportunity to fight the great Alexander Usyk, the only person in boxing history to be undisputed cruiserweight and heavyweight champion. The last guy who was that talented was probably Evander Holyfield, and he never did that. He was one of the greatest cruiserweight champions of the world, moving up to heavyweight. And Usyk, as he's approaching his late 30s, he's running out of talented people to fight. It's almost like what we see going on with Canelo Alvarez, who, after being undisputed at 168 for a while and recently having his IBF title stripped, he was stripped of his IBF title, and a unknown Cuban German named William Skull recently picked up that IBF title. Now Canelo's running out of people to fight, even in his own division. He knocked down Jaime Munguia. He beat Jaime Munguia. He beat a Puerto Rican guy that people didn't give any chance. And he's running out of people, Drew. And, well, it's inevitable that we'll have to talk about what's Canelo doing this Cinco de Mayo. In fact, I was just with some friends this past weekend, and they're like, who is he fighting? Is he really, really looking at Terrence Crawford? Yeah, he's really looking at Terrence Crawford. And you know what else, Drew? He's also looking at William Skull, the guy who just took the IBF title. William Skull has been made an offer, apparently, to fight. We're all here sitting waiting to see who's Canelo going to fight in May, including even my mom calls me all the day. Hey, who's Canelo going to fight in May?
I don't want to see the Crawford fight. I don't know why people are so excited. Like, it's another Jamil Charlo fight. He brings up somebody from 154 and everything. And this is all because Turki want to see it. Like, tell you the truth, like, how can you, like, Turki needs to just keep his mouth shut about wanting to make this fight. People wanted to see Canelo versus David Benavidez and everything. I just don't understand. Like, you give, if he beats Terrence Crawford, people are gonna say, hey, boy, we got for a couple of weight divisions. He's not gonna get no credit for beating Terrence Crawford and everything. And like I don't understand why people are hyping this up. and everything. You like, and I don't know why people are saying he's ducking Terrence Crawford. Like, come on, you guys are gonna make up excuses if he beats Terrence Crawford and everything. It's a no-win situation for Canelo Alvarez to fight Terrence Crawford. I don't want to see it and everything. On the simple fact that he's moving up, he's coming up from 2 or 3 weight divisions to fight him. I think those bigger fights and everything, like, I understand if Terrence Crawford fought at 160, yeah, you can say, but no, he fights at 154. He only had one fight at 154. So far.
Yeah. Oh, Drew, and he didn't perform that spectacular against Israel Madrimov, who we will be seeing back in action in February, if I'm correct, right? Or he was pulled out of that December fight against Bohacek, and now we'll see Israel Madrimov back in action. I did hear some murmuring about potentially that Terrence Crawford is also interested, potentially, even though it's not a big money fight, in taking on Lara for his 160-pound championship. I would highly, if I was on the advisement team, and that's a pipe dream, to Turki Alalshikh, Drew, that's exactly what I would recommend, is that Terrence Crawford build up the momentum, and so he can build up the idea that he can be a formidable opponent to Canelo Alvarez, because he does look small. He did perform not that great at 154 in his debut. Barely won that fucking title, in my opinion. Excuse my language. I think he really does need to take on Israel Lara for his 160-pound champion. Outbox the guy. Do what you got to do to win. Not only are you cementing a new, statement to your legacy, but you have an opportunity to say, hey, man, I picked up 154, 160 titles back to back. I'm ready to make that jump to 168. And I would be perfectly fine seeing Canelo Alvarez fight Terrence Crawford in September for Mexican Independence Day. I think it would be even better if you just come on, man. First of all, Terrence, get acclimated to the weight. Forget about the big jump. Let Canelo get his title back. Even though it's not a great fight, William Skull, so Canelo Alvarez could be undisputed again on paper. It's legit. It's, restoring your undisputed status back. Really quickly, guys, shout out to Off the Ropes Boxing and MMA. I believe you're out of Arizona, and I'm very excited, speaking of Arizona fighters, Drew, but Jesus Ramos Jr., reading in Boxing Scene about him and his opponent, former 154-pound titleist Jason Rosario. Jason Rosario is talking mad shit about the fight they're going to have on the David Benavidez undercard in just 3 weeks, and I would still love, every time I've contacted Jesus, he's been a great kid, a young man, and say, hey, yeah, I'll come on your show. Jason Rosario, former 154-pound champion, on the undercard. First big show for PBC in Las Vegas coming up in just a few weeks. Wiley Coyote says, is it safe in Vegas? A boxing match ticket is generally cheaper than attending a UFC card. Wiley Coyote, yeah, boxing matches are generally okay. The bigger ones will have most likely people acting like idiots, especially if you have different opposing rivalries, big like Mexico versus Puerto Rico. Obviously, there was no drama. Occasionally, I'll be honest, the worst fight I've ever been to, Drew, was a Canelo Alvarez fight where people were throwing beer bottles or canisters of beer because the fight was so fucking boring between him and El Perro Angulo at the MGM Grand Arena. People were so disgusted at that fight that my wife and I had to cover our heads as people were throwing empty beer cans at people in front of them, trying to throw it into the ring. So aside from that, you're generally safe if you're not looking for trouble. And especially nicer venues like Cosmopolitan. I often talk about, if you get an opportunity to see a fight at the Cosmopolitan, jump on it. It's a very small venue. There's fights at the end of January at the Cosmopolitan. Eddie Hearn Matchroom. I'll probably still be going to that. Fights at the Virgin, formerly known as the Hard Rock. Great small venues to go to. All right, where was I, Drew? We're talking about Canelo Alvarez, Cinco de Mayo. I know William Skull's not a great name, but Canelo sent him an offer. It's legit. Would you be okay with that fight? It's amazing. I know it's a major step down. Shit.
You know what, man? Like, I understand the dude's motivated more. Just move the fuck up. Like why? Just move up in weight, man. You expect people to pay 90 like fucking bucks to watch you fight a fucking bum, another fucking bum? I'm sorry, I'm fucking sorry, but I'm not. Nobody's gonna pay. People not gonna pay 90 bucks to fight somebody nobody knows. Like seriously, are we really gonna say, "Oh, Canelo's gonna do this with nobody that nobody knows"? Like I don't understand. This is why boxing. Like here's the thing. At least with Floyd, he'll fight a name, but the guy beat in on the back nine at the end of his career and everything when they fight Floyd and everything. But they're names, they're known names. But Canelo, no, just no.
Shout out to Little Penny joining us all the way from New Zealand, right, brother? He says that if Jai fights Zurdo Ramirez, I will be there in person if they fight in Australia. Oh, wouldn't that be amazing to witness in person a unification for undisputed cruiserweight champion? But let's be real and realistic about it. Most likely, if Turki Alalshikh is going to foot the bill, he's probably going to not afford any of the common people that appreciate boxing to watch it. You'll have to be wealthy enough to travel to Saudi Arabia. I'm almost certain that they will be flying to Saudi Arabia for that event. Little Penny, join us tomorrow for Tailgate Talk. Guys, Drew and I will be doing a playoff preview for this weekend for Football Talk. Lots to talk about for the offseason for Niner fans. Shout out to the Niner Nation. Lots to talk about playoffs. Shout out to everybody whose team made it to the playoffs, including you, Drew. Shout out to your team. You know, I know that talking about Canelo gets you fired up. It gets a lot of people fired up because we talk about how the front end of his career was he really did fight a lot of great people. Mayweather was known to fight people at the tail end of their career too. But I wanted, go ahead, Drew.
Give me 1 second. I got notes of a bunch of names.
Okay.
In this division that possibly. Give me 1 second. Go ahead, Dave.
All right.
1 second. Get that piece of paper.
I want to give praise, guys, to Angelo Leo. I believe he's from New Mexico originally, but this kid was literally living out of his car, comes to Las Vegas, and does exactly what every fighter dreams about. Becomes a champion at 122, super bantamweight. Won a title, lost his title, I believe, to Stephen Fulton. Then gets dropped by his promoter, PBC. Goes on Pro Box and has one of the best performances of his life and gets an opportunity to fight for featherweight champion of the world, doing something that nobody has done in many years. The last time somebody beat this guy was Ruben Villa from Salinas on Showbox. I'm talking about El Venado Lopez. Angelo Leo beats El Venado Lopez in one of the leading contenders for knockout of the year in 2024. He is going to go to Japan to defend his title. The guy don't give a fuck. Japan says we got big money, and the guy he's fighting is a fighter that I used to enjoy the shit out of watching once with PBC. I'm talking about Tomiko Kameda. Tomiko Kameda, the Mexican-Japanese fighter. Guys, his family sent him to Mexico to learn how to fight at the age of 15. He went to go live in Mexico. He's like a Mexican-Japanese guy. He speaks perfect Spanish like he was a Mexican native. He speaks perfect Japanese. And he's going to get another shot at fighting for a world title. Tomiko Kameda out of Japan. And Angelo Leo is going to go defend his title in Japan. Shout out to Bruce Gas Boxing, Jazz, and more. Appreciate you. Yeah. No, Wile E. Coyote, the guy, it's like you go to a taco stand and this guy would fit right in with all the hardworking construction workers. He speaks perfect Spanish. So I hope that they will market, and this fight looks like it's going to be springtime. I hope that they will do a good job of promoting this fight in the U.S. because both of these guys have fantastic backstories, and that's what makes boxing great. Backstories. I got some other news about Pro Box. Very interesting if you guys are Northern California boxing fans. Let's hear Drew's list first, though.
Now, I was looking at I have some notes about, who, what is the most entertaining fight in super middleweight for Canelo right now? And tell you the truth, none. Do we want to see him? Do we give Christian and Billy a chance to beat Canelo right now? No. Diego Pacheco? No. William Scar, nobody knows who the fuck he is. And to tell you the truth, he barely won the fight he was in for that vacant IBF title and I believe he was knocked down in that fight. And Jaime Munguia is out of the picture now because he got knocked out by a guy that had 4 knockouts.
Yeah, Jaime just finalizing a rematch, exercising his rematch clause for upset of the year in 2024. Guys, that's fresh in our memory. I believe he'll be fighting Surachi. And won't be that some shit if Surachi, the French guy, can knock him out or win again. I mean, hey, he's announced, hey, I'm not a fluke. This was not a fluke. This was not a George Kambosos moment. But, man, you know, I honestly think because Christian Mbili hasn't been in that much damage yet, that Christian Mbili, if he gets a right high-profile fight next, that he really should start making an argument to say, hey, man, I deserve a shot at your title, Canelo. I mean, he isn't beat up. Diego Pacheco will be fighting here in Las Vegas at the Cosmo at the end of the month. Diego Pacheco needs to start making a case for himself that he deserves a title opportunity, too.
It is the issue with Christian Mbili. He's coming back this week. He's gonna when he practices Wednesday. They're gonna officially clear him a concussion protocol. But the Packers are banged up, so that's somebody talking about tomorrow night.
I see. Shout out to Sin City Syndicate. What happened to the Vikings in Detroit, man? They got served.
But listen to this. Listen to this shit. Christian Mbili's last fight was against Sergey Dovichenko. Dovichenko got injured. And he couldn't stop him. And he generated a good offensive attack. Dovichenko got injured and actually shows some of Billy's flaws a little bit. But, like, I don't think he's ready. But I think he needs another step-up fight. And I think he needs a step-up from Dovichenko to find out where he's at and everything. And Diego Pacheco, I really think, if anybody's going to mention him in this picture, he has to have a step-up fight. It's time to step up. If you guys are talking about you want in on this Canelo fight, you got to step up in your fights, in your competition. You got to tell them you want to fight a top 10 or a top 5 fighter in this division to solidify me as a challenger, and then. Nobody really wants to see a Caleb Plant rematch and everything. So if we look at it, Canelo needs to move up. Like, seriously, move up. You got the belts, and if you do it the right way, you automatically get put as a mandatory in the WBO. So that automatically puts you in there for the winner of Beterbiev versus Bivol
rematch.
But I think that he's not moving up because I don't think I think they know that whoever wins Beterbiev versus Morel is going to say, "Yo, I own my shot. I got 2 interim titles here. I own my shot. You're gonna fight me. You want to fight? You ain't gonna get that shot before me. You're gonna have to fight me for that shot." So I don't know. I think that he may be taking the low risk, high reward, try to do a high reward route. Hey, I'm gonna get my money regardless. I don't care what numbers I do.
Well, Drew, if he signs this fight to fight William Sco for that final piece of the puzzle to become undisputed again for the second time at 168, I mean, I could foresee him fighting William Skull now in May and Terrence Crawford in September. That would be the fucking easiest schedule. That would look like the San Francisco 49ers, who I just found out are going to have the easiest strength of schedule in 2025. I mean, you want to talk about an easy strength of schedule. Canelo fighting William Skull, a fringe contender turned champion from France. And then Terrence Crawford, a guy who started his career off at 135 pounds. That would be a pretty fucking easy 2025. But some people here think that maybe he'd have an easy time against Benavidez or the winner. I don't know, man. I don't see why he would want to fight David Benavidez or David Morrell, the winner of that fight. I think he goes right to the winner of the rematch between Beterbiev and Bivol. But I think he really favors fighting the older, Beterbiev, Drew. I think that's
I'm gonna say something.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna say, like, people are saying Turkey is saving boxing. I think it's a combination of saving and corrupting it.
Okay.
If it makes sense.
People are asking where the Ring Magazine website is. People are like, hey, apparently Ring Mag, if you're interested, guys, Turki Alalshikh bought Ring Magazine. Now you can get a subscription, have it mailed right to your house and show everybody, look at this magazine on my coffee table. But the actual website is down right now, Drew.
Yeah, like, I'm really, like, my opinion of Turkey when it comes to boxing, I believe, is a combination of somewhat saving it and somewhat corrupting it more. And or trying to, these are the matches I want to see. No, these are the matches the fans want to see, that they will want to see. Like, I'm sorry, like, nobody wants to, like, not a lot of people want to see this Terrence Crawford fight. Like, it's a no-win situation for Canelo here. He gets no credit for beating Terrence Crawford. And, like, you got dumbass people out there saying that he's ducking Terrence Crawford and everything. Like, they're just looking for content. It's a goddamn shame and everything. And, like, I look at it like this. I think, and I look at it like this, like, what else can you do? And, yo, bro, if you don't like what we're talking about, feel free to leave. Like, God, we're not forcing you to be here.
Yeah, it's kind of strange. UBPA, I thought you were being civil in here and contributing to the conversation. And for your information, dog, I had a Muay Thai and amateur boxing career. And I'm in my 40s, and I can still fight. So keep it up, and you'll be banned. Actually, I'm going to ban him now.
No. Leave him be for a while, Dave.
All right.
Because I'll tell you this right now. I never thrown a punch. Yes, I have thrown a punch. No, I've been in fights, so what the fuck you talking about? And, like, and at the end of the day, man, we're not forcing you to be here. You want to be here to one your little dick suckers, to type your little with the hands you probably jerk dicks off with, and you don't like what we're talking about.
Million other boxing podcasts to watch. Go watch The Boxing Voice. Go watch whoever. But no, honestly, I thought he was bringing up a good point earlier before he became a troll. And we're talking about duck season. This is very big news, Drew. This is very big news. Obviously, Teofimo Lopez, ESPN, Top Rank, lots of shit going on. The ESPN contract with Top Rank expires sometime this, I believe, June. And ESPN does have a clause to extend it till the end of 2025. Teofimo Lopez, being one of the biggest stars on the platform of Top Rank and ESPN, officially turned down a fight to fight former champion Subriel Matias. Drew, he's been going on a tear on social media. Teofimo seems, again, over the course of the years, and I was lucky enough to meet him last January at the Virgin Hotel in Las Vegas. The interview is up on our channel. It seems that he's talking about a lot of different shit. And again, people are saying Teofimo thinks he's a genius businessman. He thinks he's a genius businessman. He's made a lot of poor decisions, in my opinion, financially, business-wise. Remember he tried to do that thing with that boxing promotion company, Trilla, even though that shit fell apart. He tried to leave Top Rank. He's tried to leave Top Rank more than once. Things aren't looking very good. He refuses to fight, and yet he's still obligated contractually to fight with Bob Arum and ESPN. Why on earth is he turning down all these fights? And he's going back and forth with Devin Haney, but it doesn't seem to be like he's ready to make a deal to fight Devin Haney either.
I look at it like this. I look at it like this. If he made so many bad decisions, and he doesn't, like, and this is the issue with these fighters today and everything. I just look at it, and I see that if we're going to listen to these boxers and everything on Twitter and see what the guys say. Here's the thing. They're doing a lot more talking shit to each other just to keep their name relevant and everything instead of signing a contract and making a fight. And and I'm sorry, man, I'm tired of that shit. Stop talking about each other on social media. Get a fucking contract, fucking sign it, and fucking fight already. If you're not going to fight each other, stop talking shit to one another. Because I'm so fucking sick of it. I don't understand how you guys use each other to stay relevant when neither one of these motherfuckers alone are a fucking draw on their own.
Yeah, he's never successfully had a pay-per-view special, and yet there's always a hang-up with Teo wanting a pay-per-view. When I interviewed him, he was trying to be funny, and he said, that he was willing to fight on Peacock, which is a subsidiary of NBC, Peacock. I mean, he was joking, but
you pay $5 a month for that shit.
Honestly, you've never proven to be a pay-per-view star. Your ESPN numbers on live TV are good. And I'm not even sure that it would have been a great pay-per-view if he fought Matias when Matias was also a champion at 140. Now he's been exposed. I'm not sure where he goes. There's a lot of bad fights, period. We were talking about Devin Haney. Obviously, Devin Haney, biggest rematch he could have, biggest fight of his career he could have is a chance to avenge his loss to Ryan Garcia. But this fight being talked about for Devin Haney to return on BLK, oh, fuck, is this a joke?
Here's the thing.
Is this a joke?
I'm going to say this right now. When it comes to Devin Haney's now a draw. He's a beast. He'll be considered the B-side of Teofimo. But here's the thing. I'm not saying Teofimo's a draw. Because tell you the truth, on his own, Teofimo, I don't think he can do the best jobs of being a draw on his own. I think that he needs that. These guys today need that other name to make money. And even with that, you're not guaranteed to make the money. But today's boxing world, these guys just talk shit to keep their name relevant on Twitter or fucking Instagram or something and not even come close to signing a fucking contract to fight each other. And this is what pisses me off most about this shit. I feel like going on Twitter and say, yo, stop talking shit to one another and fucking sign a contract already. If not, shut the fuck up then. All you guys do is use your fucking thumbs or your fingers, the one that you probably jerk a lot of cocks off with on fucking X and talk shit to one another. And look at it like this. While you're wasting your time, your life, doing that shit, are you making any fucking money in the process? No. You're talking about, oh, I need this much. I need this much money. These motherfuckers also price themselves out of shit. And everything. They overprice themselves.
Drew, I put this picture up because speaking of talking shit on social media, obviously Kambosos, who has a great win in his career, the greatest win of his career comes on Teofimo Lopez. Kambosos has talked him way into a 140-pound new weight class. He says he's going to be rejuvenated and whatnot, but he continues to have beef with Teofimo Lopez. If there's any fight that Teofimo Lopez needs to avenge, is this one right here, guys. Because since Kambosos won this fight, he really hasn't had a statement win at all in his career. And if Teo is afraid of finding the likes of Matias and Devin Haney and actually signing those contracts, well, sign the contract to fight Kambosos in 2025 at 140 pounds, bro. Avenge this loss.
I think the thing that turned people off about Teofimo, mainly his dad. There's a lot of majority.
I'm just gonna keep it real, Drew. I was shocked at how easygoing in person Teal's dad was in person. That actually got more views than the actual interview with Teofimo Lopez. It got 10,000 views. Surprisingly, in person, he's not off-putting at all.
Like, he's probably a nice guy talking to him in person and everything, but I think on camera and everything, I think he really hypes it up too much.
Apparently Bill Haney, another great boxing dad in Vegas here, living in Henderson. Apparently Bill Haney was talking about, hit me up, small channels. I'm down to talk. So we might just be having Bill Haney on this show pretty soon. Speaking of boxing dads.
I think Bill Haney's worse. I think Bill Haney really hypes his son up too much and everything. Like, that's another guy.
He might win you over.
That should not be training his son.
He might win you over.
He should not have no business training Devin Haney.
All right. Well, speaking of boxing dad, let's talk about Philly's boxing dad himself. I'm talking Jaron Ennis and his dad. Finally, I'm hearing some good fucking news for him. After having his fight in Philadelphia that featured Bam Rodriguez on the undercard, and the poor, just how bad things are going at the welterweight division with none of these champions wanting to fight each other. It looks like we actually are going to have some movement with Jaron Ennis, who refused to move up to 154. They were offered him a fight with Virgil Ortiz. He said, sure. I thought it was at 147. That fell apart. Now it looks like we might actually have him defending his title and unifying titles. I like this. I think this is a great fight, and I hope that this one doesn't get fucked up. I hope this one comes to fruition.
I really hope so too. It's a really good fight. It's a bane, and I think people shouldn't complain. I hope people don't complain about it. They probably will if they're a hater of boots and everything. And I look at it like this: it's a great fight, and I hopefully we get to see that fight.
And I hope not to interrupt you, but I hope Mario Barrios doesn't take the easy way out. Who's still trying to get a fight with Manny Pacquiao? That's fucking crazy, guy. That's crazy. Come on, Mario.
I'm sorry, Mario, man. Get your life together, bro. Stop trying to chase fucking an almost 50-year-old Manny Pacquiao, man. It's been out of the way for a couple of years. Stop it, Mario. Fucking stop it.
Nerd says Kambosos is a one-hit wonder. I do agree with that. He has talked himself into relevancy on social media, and he continues to attack Teofimo Lopez. And just with the sad state of affairs with Teofimo seeming to duck everybody, including now turning down an offer to fight former champion Subriel Matias. Fuck, man. At least, who are you going to fight? You're turning down all these fights against anybody who's a credible threat at 140. Well, I just suggested jokingly, fight Kambosos again. I mean, shut him up. Shut him up for his Twitter. You got to fight somebody. The deal is he needs to fight somebody soon. He is still under contract with Top Rank.
Yeah, he's obligated. Dude needs to stop saying I'm leaving Top Rank. Do what you contractually obligated to do, man. Stop bashing your promoter, man. Just fight the fucking fight. You're probably just mad because they were honest with you and you think that you overpriced yourself. That you're this big star. Here's the thing. You let the Lomachenko win get to your fucking head, and it made you humbled, and it cost your first defeat. But I think the main reason that fans got turned off with you is because you refused to give him a rematch. Even though it wasn't a clause, people thought that, hey, this kid will fight anybody, would have gave Lomo a rematch. And he's making up excuses why he shouldn't fight. Oh, he wanted to give me a rematch, but here's the thing. He was the champion giving you an opportunity and everything. And that's what the issue was. And I think that's one of the main issues why people got turned off with Teofimo and his dad. And the way that when the Kambosos fight was getting delayed and everything, and how the way he was acting during that and everything. It was really childless of Teofimo and his dad. And it wound up after he lost to Kambosos, they were even worse in defeat and everything. Like, you make all excuses, yo, you should have never fought then. You stepped in the ring at your own. You could have just said, "Hey, I'm not fully capable of fighting now, and I got an injury." They would have postponed it. There would be no problem. It already got postponed a couple of times. You got an injury. What else can you do? And you're fucking stupid for letting a fucking 350-pound bodybuilder fucking punch you in the stomach. So
Drew talk right through the bell. A big shout out to SB. I want to thank you so much for being an awesome supporter. You don't know how much that means to Drew and I. We reinvest whatever we get right back into this channel. SB with a $20 super chat. Thank you so much for reminding everybody that the channel is monetized. And if you want to help the channel out, man, it's so appreciated. We appreciate you so much, SB. That is the new super chat bell right there. Thank you so much, SB. You know, it's been a great show, guys, and we're trying to make something out of nothing today. It's been a slow week for boxing. Today there was a championship level fight, though, Drew, but let's have some fun really quickly. I need to know your take, man. He's the hardest hitting puncher in all of boxing, Drew. This picture has been going around social media, and I mean, you got to talk about it, Drew. Gervonta Tank Davis straightened his hair. He's the hardest hitting puncher in all of boxing. He may retire this year.
Oh, God.
And other boxers are saying, I mean, I think somebody went on, another boxer in his division said that he's trying so hard to look like Prince. And that does look like a Prince poof, the thing he's sitting on with. Is
that really him?
That's really him, man. He straightened his hair.
What the fuck is that dude doing?
Dog, that's his new look. Let me know in the chat. Do you guys agree with his new hairstyle? Thank God he has hair. I mean, yeah. Darius says Tank's trying to look like Prince. I mean, he's the hardest hitting puncher, one of the hardest, if not the hardest hitting puncher in boxing. Like I said, man, he's got good hair. At least he's got good hair. Do what you want with your hair.
I wish I had silky smooth hair, nerd. And I'm glad that you changed your picture from that blue fucking cock that you had on it. I'm really proud of you, man. But tell you the truth, I'm good with the bald head, man. Tell you the truth, man. Like I get women with the bald head. I don't know what the fuck you thinking. That fucking hair, like the fuck he's trying to do? Be Jimmy Butler or something? The fuck?
Darius wants to know what is the pronoun? I mean, for Tank, shit. That's up to Tank what he wants to put on his social media. For me, if I had to put a pronoun on my Twitter profile, it's gonna say podcaster. That's right, not live streamer, podcaster. That's the fucking pronoun. Why do we even need fucking pronouns, man? I don't get it, Drew.
But I don't know either, man. Like I'm sorry. Like I gotta look at it like this, man. We gotta be used to what we do every week, man, because we always got fucking. We have a new fucking people saying stupid shit, coming on saying stupid shit. Oh my fucking God. Oh God, this fucking dude.
Well, before I got one more segment I wanted to do, Drew, because I don't even know who's fighting this weekend, but I got another segment. And one more piece of news really quickly, Drew. I don't know if you heard, this is UFC news, actually. Big news for UFC. Obviously, you guys know that we have a new president. Lots of things are going to be changing with the new president. Dana White says he's going to get into boxing this year. Still awaiting the news, but Dana White joins the board of directors at Meta. And I was talking with a colleague, Drew, of somebody, Jay Chaudhry, shout out to Jay Chaudhry, who's predicted a lot of things in the sport of boxing. He once held a marketing firm where he was marketing boxers' social media profiles. And this is big news because this is something that he was telling me he's been predicting and he has insider knowledge. But pretty soon, I don't own a VR set. I don't know if anybody in the chat owns a Meta VR set, but obviously Meta is one of the leading manufacturers of VR equipment. And Dana White is ahead of Turki Alalshikh, who he's friends with. He's ahead of the fucking curve here, Drew. He's going to be the first person in combat sports, to be offering a VR experience, a front row VR experience using Meta to watch fights. And shout out to Mom Food. She says, I do. Wow. This makes me want to buy a VR. I've been waiting for shit like this because it's going to afford people in smaller cities, smaller towns, people that can't come out to Las Vegas or other cities that show fights, or even people that want to watch the UFC. First, it's going to be a UFC thing. It's going to give you the opportunity to sit ringside in the comfort of your own home and have the experience of watching combat sports ringside in the VR space. And I've been fucking talking about this for a long time, but this is what boxing needs. And Dana White, being an innovator and leader that he is, he said, hey, let's make this happen. He's been invited with Facebook to join Meta's board of directors. This is going to be happening very soon, that you are going to be able to purchase a UFC fight and watch it ringside on VR. I think that's amazing. Who will be the first boxing promoter? Is it going to be Turki Alalshikh to offer it? Will Meta and Facebook, Silicon Valley say, sure, we'll work with the Saudis? I mean, who's it going to be? Is it going to be Top Rank? They're kind of autonomous still. They haven't joined Turki Alalshikh. Will it be PBC? Who has a deal with Amazon? They got to deal with Amazon. Amazon doesn't have their own VR unit. So boxing's going to need to jump on board. They cannot let UFC be the first people and only people to offer watching a fight in VR. It's just not. I mean, you know, by the way, I've never had a VR set, Drew. I hear they get you dizzy. I don't see how you could watch a fight for 4 hours with the headset on. I'm sure that shit might be a new issue. They might have to make fights much, much quicker. And that would not be a bad thing to move fights along, for real. Because I did hear there is some fatigue wearing that shit. Anyways, guys, it's been a great show. I got one more segment for you, Drew. Almost coming up on a full hour. This is very interesting. Momfu says she gets dizzy. So that is a real thing. I can't imagine watching a 3-hour sporting event like football or boxing and leaving the headset on until they figure out, you know, until those devices get better and the fatigue of wearing them wears off. But anyways, Drew, this is from Source of Boxing. It's for 2025. These are a list of undefeated fighters. And I want to know, Drew, can you see this? Who is going to take their first loss this year? Alexander Usyk, 23-0. Arthur Beterbiev, 21-0. Gervonta Tank Davis, 30-0. Bam Rodriguez, Bud Crawford, Junto Nakatani, Japanese champion, Shakur Stevenson, and Naya Inoue. I'll tell you right now that I think the person that's going to take their first loss in their career, if he gets this fight, it's Terrence Bud Crawford. I don't think he beats Canelo under any circumstances. If he decides to fight Canelo Alvarez in May, I think Terrence Crawford is the person to take their first loss of their career in 2025. What about you, Drew?
I got two. I got two things. I think it's all going to be Beterbiev or Bam Rodriguez.
Damn, interesting choices. Arthur Beterbiev in the rematch. It was very close. Turki Alalshikh said, hey, I think Bivol won. You think it'd be Bivol, huh?
I think Bivol is going to – I picked Bivol to win the rematch. I think he adjusts to what happened from the first fight.
Okay.
And I think he is more – he becomes more aggressive in the second fight and everything. So I said I was picking Bivol. I think Beterbiev it's either going to be Beterbiev or Bam Rodriguez. I think Bam Rodriguez is going to go to a fight, potentially go into a fight that people say, oh, he's going to win, and then he just could underperform and just lose.
Bam was nominated for one of the Fighters of the Years. I believe he only fought twice, and I think that had he won that December 23 matchup, if he had that fight in 24, he would have still been a candidate for leading fighter of the year. Of course, Usyk did some unbelievably great things in 2024. And I did not give too much credence, Drew. I think you're right. Arthur Beterbiev is most likely on this list to be the first guy to take an L in his career in 2025. And I say that because I just realized that the rematch is right around the corner. And there is no fight between Terrence Bud Crawford and Canelo that is official. It's still a pipe dream. It's being talked about. It's a potential fight for him in May. But with this rematch, Arthur Beterbiev could very well be the first person to take a loss, because I'm going to tend to agree with you. I think Bivol won the first one. And I think
no, you want to know something?
Even Turki Alalshikh thought he won the first one.
I'm going to take that back. He probably going to be the second one. You want to know why? Because I think the guy's going to take his first loss is Virgil Ortiz on the undercard.
Interesting. But Virgil Ortiz is not on this this poster, but way to throw shade. Hey, I appreciate Joe Gonzalez, brand new person in the chat. He says Gervonta Davis wears his hair like that because he wears cornrows. That's what it looks like when it's not corn rolled up. That's probably true. And to be honest, a lot of people had fun with that on social media, but obviously we've seen him do a lot of funny shit like dancing with AB, all corny and shit. Like, he don't care. I mean, this guy, Gervonta Tank Davis, is very confident, and shout out to him. So, hey, it's been a great show, guys. Nerd says Nakatani won't lose due to the fact that he's fighting all bums. And it's true, Nakatani does not have, he's not been showing any interest in fighting Naoya Inoue. Speaking of Naoya Inoue, guys, I'm not sure, obviously he's one of my favorite Japanese fighters. He's pound for pound, great fighter. But Nakatani showing no urgency to fight Naoya Inoue, his fellow countryman. And in fact, a lot of you guys, some people were asking about MJ in this chat recently. Ahmaduliyov? MJ, right? Former champion at 122. It looks like Naoya Inoue is going to be performing his second time in Las Vegas ever this spring against David Picasso of Mexico City, who I just saw fight. Fantastic fighter. Probably not deserving of a title opportunity yet, but a fantastic up-and-coming contender, David Picasso. Drew, they're going to strip Naoya Inoue of his undisputed status. And it looks like because he refuses to fight MJ in the spring, that MJ will be elevated. So as soon as I find out word about that, I'll let you guys know. He may, just like Canelo Alvarez, no longer be undisputed because he's not fighting his mandatory in MJ. He's choosing to fight David Picasso on a show for ESPN in Las Vegas this spring. And because of that, hey, man, there's ramifications. He will no longer be undisputed if things play out the way the IBF usually does things. That's all we got, man. Drew, any final words on boxing? I know we're going to do a football show tomorrow.
No.
All good, man. I appreciate it. On behalf of Drew Evil from Philadelphia and Dave in the 702 Las Vegas, we'll be back on the air tomorrow for Tailgate Talk. Until then, peace out, and thank you so much, SP, for that super chat. See you guys tomorrow. Peace.